You and Ben started in the same spot. Same age, same job, pretty much, same money in the bank, give or take a few $100s. For 3 years, you split rent on a place with thin walls and a landlord who took 3 weeks to fix anything. You shared a couch you found on the curb. You know each other the way you only know someone you were broke with, the way where you don't have to explain yourself. Then one year you bought a house and Ben kept renting. That's it. That's the whole fork in the road. One signature, one Saturday, at a closing office, and the two of you walked off in different directions without really noticing it was a direction at all. And for a long time, honestly, it looked like Ben made the smarter call. Here's what buying actually felt like, because nobody tells you this part. It did not feel like winning. It felt like signing your name 40 times in a cold room, while a woman you'd met twice slid papers across a desk and pointed at the line. You handed over almost everything you had. The down payment ate most of it, then the closing costs, which were thousands of dollars you somehow didn't know about until that week. Then little fees with names you didn't understand, each one a few hundred more. You walked out of there a homeowner with about $600 left to your name, and you sat in your car in the parking lot for a minute before you turned the key, feeling a little sick. That night you slept in a house you owned and stared at the ceiling and did math until you fell asleep. Ben signed a one-page lease, paid a deposit, got the keys, and was done in 20 minutes. He sent you a photo of his new place with the caption, "No lawn to mow, lol." You did in fact now have a lawn to mow. The first few years, Ben is winning. I want to be fair about this because most videos lie to you right here and pretend the renter is a fool. He isn't. Your water heater dies in year 2. It goes in the middle of the night, floods part of the basement, and it is $800, and it is entirely, completely your problem. There is no landlord to call. You are the landlord now. Ben's water heater dies that same winter and he sends one text, and a guy shows up the next day and Ben never thinks about it again. You spend a Saturday on your hands and knees with a shop vac in a bad mood figuring out why the basement smells like that. Ben spends his Saturday at a lake. Then the big one. 2 years in, Ben gets offered a job in another city. Real jump in pay, the kind that changes the shape of your life. He takes it. He gives 30 days notice, sells what won't fit in the car, and he's gone. No looking back. No strings. About 6 months later, you get offered something just as good in the same city he went to. And for one night, you let yourself get excited. Then you run the numbers. To take it, you'd have to sell the house. Selling costs you 6% off the top just in agent fees. Plus you've only been in it 2 years, so you've barely paid down anything. Plus the market's flat, which means you'd walk away owing money to leave. So you don't take it. You stay. You email back a polite no. You watch Ben build a whole new life in the city you turned down, and you tell yourself the house was the right call, and on a couple of those nights you don't believe yourself at all. So if this story ended at year 5, Ben wins clean. More cash in his account, more freedom, none of the repairs, and a better job in a better place because he could actually move when the moment came. Buying looks like a trap you walked into with your eyes wide open and a pen in your hand. The story does not end at year 5. Here's the thing that was happening the whole time, so quietly that neither of you clocked it. Your house payment did not move. You locked it in when you signed. Year 1, year 5, year 10. It is the same number every single month. Same number. It's like someone took a photo of a price back when you bought and the photo just never changed. Meanwhile, Ben's rent goes up. Never buy a lot in any 1 year. $40 here, $100 there. A friendly email every 12 months with the word adjustment in it. Ben barely notices, and why would he? It's the price of a couple lunches, and you would not have noticed either. But run it forward. Year 10, Ben is paying a few hundred more a month than he was at the start, for the same kind of apartment in the same kind of neighborhood. Year 15, more than that. The landlord isn't a villain. He's just doing what landlords do, raising it to what the market will take. And there is nobody and nothing stopping the number from climbing year after year after year. Your number never climbed once. You won a fight you didn't even know you were in, and you won it back in that cold room when you signed the papers and locked the price of your life in place. And then there's the other thing. The boring thing. The thing that is actually the entire point of this video. Every month when you make that payment, part of it isn't really a payment at all. Part of it is just you, moving money from one pocket to another pocket that happens to be yours. It goes into the house, into the slice of it you own outright, and it sits there and stacks up whether you're paying attention or not. You weren't being disciplined. You weren't some genius. You literally could not get out of it. The bank made you put money away every single month for 30 years, and not once did it ask whether you were in the mood. That's the part people get backwards about buying. They think it makes you money because houses go up in value. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they sit flat for a decade. That was never the magic. The magic is way dumber than that. The magic is that you cannot skip a month. There is no month where you decide you don't really feel like building equity this time. The payment is the payment. It is due whether you're flush or broke, disciplined or falling apart, and it drags you a little closer to owning the whole thing every time, most months, without you even thinking about it. Now, here's where I have to be straight with you, because the easy version of this is Ben gets crushed and you ride off into the sunset, and that version is a lie and you'd smell it. Ben had to move the entire time. The whole way through, his rent was cheaper than your mortgage. Way cheaper in the early years. That gap was real money. Every month, there was a difference between his cheap rent and your fat payment, and that money sat in his account instead of getting buried in your walls. And if Ben took that difference, the gap, and put it somewhere it could actually grow and did it every month and never touched it, then Ben does just fine. Better than fine. He can walk out the far end of 30 years with a pile as big as your house, sometimes bigger, and he never once met a water heater at 2 in the morning. The renter who invests the difference is not the loser of this story. I really need you to hear that part, because it's the part everybody skips. He wins too. Renting is not throwing money away. That's a bumper sticker, not a fact. But here's the catch, and it's the only thing this whole video is actually about. Almost nobody does it. The difference doesn't show up in your life looking like savings. It shows up looking like breathing room. It looks like you can afford the nicer car this time, the better seats, the trip you wouldn't have taken, dinner out a few more nights a month because you've had a long week and you've earned it. Every single one of those is a reasonable choice. Not one of them feels like a mistake in the moment. And that is exactly, precisely, how the money vanishes. Not in one big stupid purchase you could point at later. In 40 small good ones you'll never even remember. Ben did this for a while. 2, maybe 3 years. He just let the difference quietly melt into a slightly nicer life. The way anyone would. The way you would have. The way I would have. What saved Ben wasn't brains. He's not smarter than you. He never was. What happened is one night he actually looked at his account and saw that all that difference, all that money he was supposedly saving by renting, was just gone, with nothing to show for it but some restaurants he couldn't remember. And it scared him. So that same night, before he could talk himself out of it, he set up an automatic transfer. Money out of his checking the day after payday into something he couldn't easily touch, gone before his eyes ever landed on it. He built himself a fake mortgage. He forced his own hand on purpose because he finally understood that nobody and nothing was ever going to force it for him. And that's the truth nobody tells you. You and Ben both ended up okay, and you got there the exact same way, even though one of you bought and one of you rented, and you spent years thinking you'd made opposite bets. You both built a machine that grabbed the money before you could ruin it. Yours was a bank that wouldn't let you quit. His was a transfer he set up himself because he couldn't trust his own hands. Same trick. 2 different labels on it. So at the end of the whole thing, you're standing in a kitchen you own and there's no payment anymore. Not a cent. Because the 30 years ran all the way out and the house is just yours now. Paid off. Quiet. And Ben is standing in an apartment he could walk away from tomorrow if he wanted, with an account that grew up into the same kind of number while he wasn't looking. $100 at a time, every month. For decades. You bought him a beer one night and asked if he ever wished he'd bought a place back then. He actually thought about it. Took a second. Then he said no, not really. And then he said the thing I've thought about more than anything else in all of this. He said, you didn't beat me because you bought a house. You'd have spent that difference the same as anybody. Same as me. You know you would. You beat the part of yourself that would have blown it. The mortgage just never gave that part of you a vote. The bank held the line so you didn't have to. I just had to figure out how to hold it myself. So when you're sitting there with the rent versus buy calculator open, sweating over interest rates and price to rent ratios and whether your city is a buying city or a renting city, you're chewing on a question that matters a lot less than the one sitting underneath it. The top question is real. Don't get me wrong. Houses go up and down. Rates go up and down. Your city's math is its own thing and you should absolutely run it. But the real question, the one under all of it, is this. Can you save the money on purpose when there is nobody in the world making you? If you can, then honestly, rent or buy, flip a coin, you're going to be fine either way. But if you can't, and most people can't, and that's me and that's almost everyone I know, then buying was never really about the house. It's about handing the job to something that won't let you off the hook on a bad month. You're not buying a place to live. You're buying a thing that quietly saves you from yourself. 30 years, one payment at a time, whether you feel like it that month or not.